Hey guys, and welcome to the latest in the SleepyTalk podcast. Now, today I'm going to be joined with two different people. I mean, you've met, well, not met, but you've heard Kyle before, but we've got another special guest from another channel that me and Kyle both co-run, which is Carl. Hello, Carl.
Hi, everybody. How are you doing?
So why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, Carl? We'll do this in a proper podcast format.
A proper podcast format? Well, to be so official, I'm 33 and I do YouTube with Kyle and I work at Game for all you out there. Yeah, which is fun. But yeah, first ever spooky podcast about this kind of stuff, so I'm quite excited. I am.
That does sound pretty cool, even though I already know about it.
But I'm telling you, that Game though, where we work, there's some freaky stuff going down there. So I'm telling you.
Yeah, that's the reason why Carl's in this. Well, to be fair, I've already broached the subject with Carl about coming on, maybe being sort of like a recurring part-time host. He's a nice guy, and that laugh is just contagious.
I love it.
Yeah, we all hate it, but we can't help but laugh along with it. So, see how it goes. See, it's like a machine gun that you just have to run at.
Stop.
So yeah, we basically do a separate YouTube, which is more challenges and more upbeat and fun than talking about scary stuff that's going to stab you in the night. So yeah, I'll put a link to the description. I'll put a link to the description. No, I'll put a link in the description of the PTRejects channel, which is what all three of us are on as well. And in like 2 weeks, I'll be debuting on there. So it's just my voice that you can hear.
I know, I can't wait for that. We need something big for when you come over.
Yeah, we need something big for Luke's
initiation.
Initiation is debut on the actual videos. I'm excited. I am. So I feel like you should do a lot. You should have to do quite a lot, seeing as we've been through it a little bit.
I know the amount of work.
You know what I mean?
The amount of narration and money that I have donated towards stuff.
Well, the money part, yeah, I'll give you that, Luke.
Nobody else pays for it, do they?
Definitely not.
I think we're only 3 people in here that do. Don't worry, boys, I'll edit this out.
You've contributed more.
No, leave it in.
Leave it in. You've contributed more. You're not even in videos properly.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a completely different topic. We could do a podcast on that alone, I think.
Yeah, I'm tempted. No, I want to do that. I just don't want to edit. So we'll work that one out when we get to it, really. But anyway, we'll get straight into it now. So Carl works at Game, as he said, and some spooky stuff's been going on. Why don't you tell us more about this?
Oh, okay. So I'm not the biggest believer in it up until last week, and I wouldn't say, I don't know. So basically, there were a rumour going round when I first started working at Game that there was a little girl that used to like run around on the top floor. So our building was like a 3-story. And we always kept the 3rd floor locked, and people always used to say that they've seen stuff up there and they've heard stuff up there. And I used to just fob it off kind of thing, if that makes sense, because you hear that kind of stuff all the time. So last week, I'm doing what I'm doing downstairs. I'm cashing up and stuff. And my other manager goes upstairs we've got shutters upstairs, and you have to go and shut them at the end of night, obviously. So he goes up, and then literally all I hear is this. It sounds like an elephant coming across the landing and downstairs. And he comes busting through the door. And he said he heard, when he pulled the shutter down, he walked away and he heard something like rattling on the shutter. To which I replied, Gio, what are you saying? But he also, my other manager, was saying that he'd experienced the same things a few days prior. And again, we were like, give over what you're saying. So I'm going like, there's nothing up there. So I open the door And me being me, I go, is there anybody out there? And then pretend to be a ghost. I'm like, oh, I'm a ghost. And then I pull the shutter down as well on the back door. As soon as I've locked it, no word of a lie, I heard the biggest rattle you have ever seen, ever heard in your life. And I literally ran out of the door. I went, get your keys, we're going home, because I can't stay in this shop now. Like, it were mental. So then I've done a bit of research. So where Game is now, it was pretty much a cinema in like 1929 called Picture Palace Cinema, I think it was called.
So for context, this is Game in Chesterfield.
Chesterfield,
That's
yes.
On,
on
what road
Burlington,
is it now?
Burlington
Street. Yeah.
So the one thing, so it wasn't actually Game where the cinema is. It was opposite Game. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
So, but it was a cinema in 1929 that actually burnt down, and then after a cinema it became Woolworths. You know where old Woolworths used to be.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of recordings of people hearing screaming, and they smelt smoke on there. And then they were a lot of staff used to say they weren't going to go in the stock room on their own. They would only go in pairs, and they were finding like tools on the floor and things like that. So I did a bit more digging, and it turns out, see, the little girl part that I said earlier is quite important, because it turns out that 5 little girls actually died in this fire. I think it was 5. Yeah, 5 children actually died in the fire. And they were dressed as Eskimos. See, the funniest thing is, when I say little girl, people used to say a Chinese little girl. Now, I'm thinking, I don't know if I'm being paranoid, but you know, because if she's dressed as an Eskimo, could you pass it? Do you get what I'm saying? So I got home, I talked to my old manager, I'm in a group chat with him and a couple of other friends, and I just said about what had gone off that day, and he messaged back saying, no word of a lie, just got goosebumps all over my legs. The exact same thing happened to me, but as he were walking back from the shutters, we've got another room on your left, and he looked into the room and he saw a black shadow just run across the room, and then he heard loads of banging. So he did the same as what I did, literally ran downstairs, set the alarm, and left the shop. So yeah, I don't know what to think about that. I don't. It's just weird. I don't like it in there anymore. I'm very dubious about going up to the 3rd floor as well now. Like, the adrenaline that you get when you go up now is just like, it's too much, if that makes sense. It's like something overcoming you kind of thing, and I'm just like, I don't know if it's me being paranoid now because I've heard something or not, but that's pretty much it, the whole story, until I experience other things. But it's just weird that all the things like kind of fit together, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of sucks at a certain point that, you know, it's a business, because if we could like just chill out there one night,
I mean,
record.
I'm pretty sure I can make that happen, because what we were going to do a Ouija board there.
Oh no, sod that. Nope, I'm out. I'm out straight away. I'm not sure that I'm fully on board with spirits and things like that, as people know through these podcasts, but I will never entertain the idea of a Ouija board, just in case.
Yeah, there's always the just in case. So one of the girls that we work with, she's actually into all that kind of stuff, and she does them and things like that. And she was saying just put sage at your entrance to your doors and things like that, and then when you want to end your Ouija board, you have to just do a certain thing, and everything should be fine from there on out.
Should be fine.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I'll happily. Like, if it could be set up that we could do an evening there. I mean, you can put the stock in some sort of locked room, I imagine. I'm
sure they'd be fine with it, personally. I don't see any problems with, because we stay there to watch things at night and stuff like that. Like, you know, when you have E3 conferences and stuff like that, we stay there, so I can't see it being a problem. I can't.
Yeah. But
But
I'd love to do that, but I would not do the Ouija board. No way, Jose. If that comes out at any point, if we actually do this, and that comes out, I am out of that door before you even start.
I won't let him do it. But it's just, again, I would never really been one. I believe that there's, but I've never seen anything, never heard really much. Like everything else I've ever heard could kind of be explained. But the rattling that I heard it wasn't normal, if that makes sense. It was literally like someone was banging on a shutter, and I was out of there. No, I'm gone.
I've just been doing a bit of research on that about the Picture Palace, the children that they were performers that died. And one of the websites that's come up, you can actually buy merchandise with a picture of the funeral on it.
Yes, it's there's one kid on the left-hand side in the middle. If it's the picture that I'm thinking of, it is the freakiest child you have ever seen. It looks like the Omen child.
No, look what I've just sent you. So it's literally a funeral. Looks like it's at the Crooked Spire as well. But you can literally buy cushions with that picture on it. It's really bizarre.
I'll just say for anyone that's watching on YouTube, I'll get Kyle to send that picture across, and I'll put it up. For those listening on Spotify, yeah, unlucky. You'll have to. You'll have to
just
try
Google
and
it yourself.
YouTube.
Yeah,
To be fair, I'll put the link in the description on Spotify and YouTube as well, just so you can go check it out yourself. But yeah, I'll you two carry on.
But yeah, it was. It's just again, what I was saying. I've never really seen anything, heard anything, and that thing just it took it to a whole new level. And I know it were only a sound, but it's the sound that I heard. It couldn't be explained. Normally, you can explain it like I've heard stuff at game before, but it could have been a pigeon in the roof or something like that. Do you get what I mean? But that was like literally like a full-grown person just like banging on a shutter. It were weird. It were. So
27th of December as well. It was a Christmas production.
Yeah, it was a Christmas production, and they were. I mean, I don't know. There is another photo of the 5
13
children.
years old. That's horrible, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's. I mean, I can get that picture and I'll send it to Luke so you can put it in the description as well. But it's not. Yeah, it's weird. The only thing that puts me off it all is that obviously it's across the road from game. So are they like fed up of burgers now from Burger King?
Is that open again?
Burger King's
No,
shut,
it's shut. It's been shut for ages. So they're just like.
Well, maybe they're not getting any food, so they decided to go
just
across
like
road.
just come over to game. So
yeah. I don't know, because I know that a lot of buildings in Chesterfield anyway, they had cellars, didn't they? So
yes,
maybe the cellars were
all connected. Maybe.
Yeah.
Well, you've got to think as well. The palace, Picture Palace, would have been quite big, so it would have took probably most of that location up anyway.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, because it were bigger than the original Woolworths. So until it burnt down.
Yeah.
So it's. But yeah, it all just kind of links together. You know, when you start reading things and you're like, hang on a minute. And then someone else like says something, and then someone else, and I know it's all hearsay, they could just be saying it, you know, but for everyone to react to the way that they reacted was a bit weird. So yeah, we're all very scared of game now. I even told my manager, I said, I'm not working here no more.
Well, work there long enough for us to actually stake it out for one night.
I get a couple of weeks.
Yeah. But no, that would be really interesting to do, because as we discussed in the last podcast anyway, what I'm wanting to do with this channel, I know I've just set up a new series, so check it out if you haven't seen it. Well, short scary stories where I give my opinions on them, but you know, just a little plug there from me.
Yeah.
I want to push this. Well, yeah, if you want to plug that too. And to be fair, I mean, I can edit this out. It's not a problem. But I was tempted to get some of my designs and sort of do like a multi-shop, because I kind of want to make it into a hub, if that makes sense.
What, a place where you can just go for different content?
Pretty much, but it all
Yeah.
under like the PTR sort of branding.
Well, that makes sense because we have got the PTR gaming. You'd have the PTR. He wants to do more PTR and things like that, so it would make sense.
We could have the
And then you
PTR
could-
spooky wookies.
Yeah, and you could do spooky videos where we're going camping, crazy woods and things.
I think
Well, that's
what
the
I,
thing,
I
that's-
suggested earlier were pretty good
Yeah.
with Dead Man's Island. Camping that.
Where's that?
Kent.
So basically, when they took all the prisoners of war to Australia,
Yeah.
if they ever got ill or they died on the ship, they'd throw them overboard just outside Kent. And
Oh,
literally,
really?
because the water levels dropped so much, like the beach is just littered with human remains, like bones and stuff like that, half skulls and all sorts.
Oh God.
But apparently,
See,
it's quite spooky.
I'm down for doing stuff like that. I really am, and I'm a little bit like, you should have seen me run when I heard that shutter. So, I mean, you'll get some good reactions out of me, especially if you see something spooky.
So, yeah, I think generally speaking, most of the people that will join this side of the YouTube spectrum for my channel will be from PTR anyway. So you'll all be getting the same invites. We'll be using pretty much the same equipment. I'll just be bringing extra things along. Kyle's up for doing it. I know you're up for doing it, Carl. I know Ryan's up for doing it. And Jordan, who frequents on here, will be up for it. So, generally speaking, it'd be nice to sort of become an umbrella, a super channel. Pretty much, we've got many fingers in many pies. So it just makes sense to sort of work together to build a community around stuff. So there's something for everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100% agree with that.
We can do the challenge videos that are proper goofy and, we hurt ourselves or whatnot. And then we can also do the challenges where, hang on a minute, you've got to stand in a haunted room in the dark on your own for 10 minutes and see how long you last, sort of thing,
About 30 seconds.
Yeah. These things would be pretty cool. And again, we've got the production capability, we've got the editing skills, and we've got the manpower.
Well, that's the good thing about it. There's that many people involved in and out as well that the possibilities are pretty endless. Like you said, from the goofy stuff to the really serious stuff to even just a podcast. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Content is key. It is.
Enjoyment is key.
Enjoyment is definitely key.
Yeah, 100%.
Like, I enjoyed myself today a lot. I did. It took it out of me, but I enjoyed it a lot. I did.
When's that video coming out? Wednesday or Sunday?
Wednesday.
So yeah, you're just gonna have to wait till Wednesday. You're gonna have to wait till Wednesday. I can't put a link in the description. But I'll put PTR's link in anyway, and when it comes out, because I've got a short scary story that's coming out on Wednesday, so I'll put the link in the description then. It should be good. Okay, so what I was going to talk about is the Greyfriars. So, although poltergeist activity tends to center on a home or an individual within a home, or a business in your case, Carl, or a cinema that burned down, poltergeists can get stuck in one place. So that might be the case of yours as well, is that they're stuck, and maybe the area they're stuck into. Maybe there's, when it comes to poltergeist, there's some form of, what's it called now? Everything escapes me when I do podcasts. This is incredible. This is amazing. Territories. There we go.
But like a radius kind of thing.
Yeah. So like they've got some sort of central location and they can only branch out like 15 meters from that space. I mean, you see it in movies as well, like where people like escape a building and then they're fine.
Yeah,
as soon as they escape it.
Yeah, like that happened in like Paranormal Activity and stuff like that. Like as soon as they're out of the house, everything's all right. if that makes
Yeah.
sense. So
Yeah, I mean, there's other occasions and documentation where people have spirits attached to them, which is pretty spooky in my sort of thing. I'd hate to have something attached to me
yeah,
physically.
that's not for me.
I did,
That
mate. I did think that at one point when I don't know whether you've watched any of my podcasts, but
yeah, I
you
watched the
need to now.
last couple.
So with my story, and I did like a video on it. Well, I say I did a video on it. I used to do vlogs, and I'm gonna bore everyone because I go on about this like every other podcast. But you know what, you knew, or you're fine.
Yeah, it's an excuse to tell me.
Yeah. I used to do vlogs on YouTube back like 7-8 years ago, and during one of the vlogs, my cupboard door started moving to the right of me, and I didn't notice while I was doing the vlog, but there was a YouTube comment from my mate who helps edit stuff saying, "Dude, look at this timestamp," and it freaked me the hell out. And given that, like, when I was younger, I mean, like, very young, like toddler to like 6, I lived in a house that was kind of pretty much haunted. I did question whether maybe something had attached itself to me, but generally speaking, I feel fine. You know, I went through sleep paralysis as well and thought that maybe that was a similar thing, but nah.
No, you see, I'd get paranoid about that. I would. I genuinely
I
would.
did.
I'd still
I
be
did.
paranoid about it. You've just shrugged it off now. Now nothing's attached to me. That's it. We'll just leave that. I'd still be like freaking out big time about it. I would.
Yeah. I mean, if I let that happen, I'd scare myself to death. Generally speaking, I have a good life. I have a good job. I have a good family. I don't tend to go through stuff like I used to, and I feel like at that point in my life I was mentally weak, and now
Yeah,
I'm a bit better off.
I suppose it can be if you're down in dumps a little bit. Everything else seems a bit weird around you. Like, I don't know. I've been there.
Yeah,
Not
and
to the point of I feel like a poltergeist's eating me or something, but I get where you're coming from.
Yeah, I just think if you look at sort of like the supernatural as like a virus, if you're susceptible to it, then your sort of mental and spiritual state at that point is probably a bit like your immune system, and it's probably very depleted when you're in that state of
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah,
terror
100%.
yourself. So
It's like it's like having a cold when you're down in dumps. When you're tired, it feels 10 times worse. If that makes sense?
Yeah, 100%, mate.
Yeah.
I've got a cold from this week. Mainly, I've got a dodgy wisdom tooth. It's called impacted, but it's growing sideways. It's really cut sort of like the side of my cheek, and it's sort of burying itself in there. So I'm gonna have to go and get that sorted. But with the lack of sleep, having a new baby on top of it, and not being able to sleep on one side and get comfy, you know, your immune system drops when you have lack of sleep. Plus,
Yeah.
you know, work stress and life stress and things like that on top, your immune system goes to crap. And even if you're in lockdown and you are shielding, as I am, you know,
Probably takes a
you
little
can
bit
pick
of
up a
something,
cold.
though. Yeah.
You can pick up a cold from anything. You know, these things, it might not be a viral cold, but it's definitely sort of like my body is
Just
struggling
making
at
you
the minute.
Yeah, worse. I suppose, like you say, it can be the same spiritually. So
Yeah, if you
if you're down in
spiritually,
dumps,
yeah,
something's like if you're putting off a negative energy, you get me, and then something that is negative like that is going to want to attach to you. So
yeah,
I don't know.
I don't know whether it's attachment. I just think you might be more susceptible to experience that sort of side of life if these things are real. You know, they're easily able to sort of like penetrate your defenses and make themselves known. So I don't know. I think if this sort of thing is real, then I'd believe this sort of theory a lot more, that you need to be mentally and spiritually strong
Yeah.
to sort of come out the other side of things and not have things attached to you.
I'm a Ghostbuster, so I'm fine.
Oh yeah, we all know that. So, but this is also the reason why I want to go out and sort of like do these things, like stay over at game for a night and go into creepy places that are renowned for having hauntings, and seeing if I can last and seeing if I can do the challenges, because there's nothing better for your immune system than to have viruses attack you.
Yeah, no, yeah, agreed.
So you might as well test. I might as well test my theory out and go and see if there's actually any sort of anything supernatural that's going to attack me. Maybe it might strengthen me. Maybe it might be the end of me. But you know, I'm
I
willing
won't
to
let it.
have that challenge. Oh, cheers,
I
mate.
won't let it, Luke. I'll fight it. Getting a boxing match. Celebrity boxing match. YouTube boxing match. PTR Carl versus
Ghost.
John the Ghost.
Yeah.
I've got your back, bro. Don't worry.
Oh, I appreciate it, bro. But anyway, Greyfriars, as I said, like
I'm
10
gonna say
minutes ago.
we got on a right tangent there, didn't we?
Yeah.
It won't be a good podcast without a tangent. That's all I'm
No,
saying.
You know, Ryan's not even here, and we're already going off on tangents. So, Greyfriars is in Scotland. It's a cemetery in Edinburgh, and the poltergeist encounter is all down to somebody called the Bluidy Mackenzie, who was a man that was responsible for the death of 18,000 other men who were opponents of Charles II, earning him his nickname. I don't know whether it's Bluidy or Bloody, but it's someone Mackenzie anyway. Bluidy, Bloody. So one of the first reported encounters in the cemetery occurred in 1999, when a homeless man decided to kip down in the coffin of Mackenzie to find shelter.
Oh wow!
So yeah, so
picked
he
the right
jumped
one
in.
there.
Imagine that, you know. Oh, I'm just gonna go for a kip. Where do you want a kip? Oh, I'm just gonna go in this coffin, mate.
Yeah, the one coffin there, brilliant.
Yeah.
My dad.
I've just been there, you know.
What, in Edinburgh?
Yeah.
Oh,
you walk
cool.
through it. It's got like massive tombs and everything. It's crazy.
Yeah. So, yeah, this homeless man ended up in the tomb during like a stormy night, and the coffin collapsed. So the homeless man quickly bolted, who terrified another bloke walking his dog through the cemetery, seeing a man fleeing from a tomb covered in dust. You know? And it seems that encounter, or the actual disturbance of the tomb or coffin, woke something in there. Because since then, there's been numerous reports of poltergeist activity in the area, and at one stage, the cemetery ended up closing.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, a ghost tour was set up so that members of the public could enjoy this true story for themselves, and since then, more than 170 people have apparently passed out or collapsed, and more than 350 have been attacked, and numerous injuries, which include broken bones, have been reported.
Wow, take my money.
And Kyle's just said that he's walked through that.
Yeah.
Is your middle name Danger?
Kyle Danger Potter.
I didn't know
but
about
that'd
that,
be a cool place to go.
I didn't know about that, though. I just... Go on.
Oh, no, go on. You're all right.
I say I didn't know anything about that. I hate you. I actually hate you.
The thing is, though, Kyle, is that you're really quiet, and the viewers aren't going to know this because I'm going to bump your voice up, but you're really quiet, so I can just hear a snippet of the end of you when we're talking. I'm like, oh, we just interrupted him again. Oh no, he's gonna be fuming with us after. But Kyle,
right. Carry on what
proceed.
you're saying. I'm going to be quiet.
I'm just saying I didn't know anything about it. We just walked through it. But like I say, it were impressive to look at. There were a lot of the tombs were like bankers and stuff like that.
You what? Yeah, I'm gonna have to bleep that out, Kyle. How dare you swear on this channel?
Yeah, I was just looking at some of the pictures that you were on about. I've googled it and what Kyle were about some of the tombs. Some of them look mental, like they must have all been rich men and what have you, like, because these are not normal. Walking through there, nah, I'm alright, bro. I can't believe you walked through there, Kyle. Personally, I suppose it's not too bad if you don't know where it is. But if you'd have heard this conversation
I wouldn't
4 days ago,
what's it called? Grey's what?
Greyfriars
Greyfriars
That's it.
Kirkyard, is that right?
Courtyard.
Courtyard.
The
Why did I say
cemetery.
Kirkyard?
I don't
Yeah, it is definitely where I walk through.
Yeah, but this is the thing. This is another sort of aspect that I just really want to go to these sort of places. Like, if they're doing tours, that'd be great.
Yeah,
But if we
cheap
could do
as
a
well.
night tour,
They're about
Yeah.
£13-14 because we were looking at booking one when we were up there, but because of coronavirus and stuff, it were quite limited on space.
if we could like email them and say, look, we want to have a party come up at a certain point, we're going to be filming for, etc. And see how much they do it for.
Worth a try.
I reckon
like
we
a
could scrape
private?
together. Yeah, like a private. We'll get one person to show us the tour, and then we'll see if we can do like some challenges and stuff when we're there that we're allowed to do. Obviously, not anything that's gonna sort of desecrate anything there. No, you can get screwed. I'm out.
Tombs are massive.
Yeah, if we could do anything that wouldn't sort of disturb anything there and sort of like give us a lifetime of bad luck, and have like a private tour and potentially some recording and stuff like that, that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah,
It's a 4-hour drive. It's not far.
I just want to sit down.
Spent night.
Yeah, these are things like obviously there's certain hotels that you can go to and you can spend the night in there, but I don't think I'd be sleeping. I'd want to record. I'd want to do like an 8-hour sort of
Yeah,
stint
you've got
where
to
we-
stay up all night. You can't just be
Yeah.
there for a couple of hours.
The thing is,
Exactly.
though, the more sleep deprived you are, the more you're gonna start seeing things and stuff, as well.
Mm-hmm.
I feel.
Yeah, definitely, 100%.
That's why you just sleep during the day.
Oh yeah, that's a thing, isn't it?
I forgot.
We used
they
to do
existed.
nights together. We used to
Why
do
didn't I-
nights together.
Oh yeah.
Like, you used to do a night shift and you don't. What?
Dear.
I think we've bled that one out now, Kyle. Thanks. You carry on. You do you.
You do you.
Yeah, I've got these 8 things to talk about.
How many things you got to talk about, Kyle?
8, mate. I'm going to talk about. It's literally just a list of 8 things, like what skeptics and scientists, not scientists, paranormal investigators believe about poltergeist. That's all.
Go on then. Go.
All right, so we've got number 1. So, parapsychologist. How do you say that?
Parapsychologist.
Yeah, parapsychologists can't agree on what they are in terms of poltergeist. So they don't know whether they're like what they call ghosts or just an actual entity itself. If that makes sense. This is a discussion thing, by the way.
Yeah, I've seen things like on shows and things. They say like an entity is like, what's it? My knowledge is coming from Most Haunted now, so let's just throw that out there.
The pinnacle of British television.
The pinnacle of British television. Derek Acora, eat your heart out. Rest in
I've
peace.
seen an alien.
But
Mary loves
they
dick.
used to get like
Mary loves dick. Mary loves dick.
that made me choke.
Oh no, brother, I'm choking. For those of you that don't get that reference, Carl did a rap battle on Peter. Well, it weren't really a rap battle. They got they had a few tracks done by 24 Degrees, who has done some stuff on KSI subreddit, and they did some raps. some wraps, some chicken wraps,
Dropped some fire in the
dropped
booth.
some bars, sick
Dropped
bars.
straight bars.
Yeah, in the booth, and they did a Donald Trump and Boris Johnson one. I'll put a link in the description, but
I'm
some
still laughing
some
at
of the
Mary
lines.
Loves Dick. Sorry.
If you haven't seen that either, just type in "most haunted Mary Loves Dick," and there's a there's a psychic medium on there called Derek Caller, rest in peace, who
Is he dead?
gets he's
Yeah,
dead.
Cora's dead. God rest his soul.
Yeah,
Should be a
Rest in
national
peace.
bank holiday his birthday.
Yeah, or his death day.
Or his death day, one or two.
Yeah, yeah, he was a psychic medium who got what do they call
Cancer.
it now?
No.
Where they get possessed, and well, he doesn't get possessed. He sort of lets them speak through him, and yeah, he just came out with a banger that was "Mary Loves Dick." Dick being Richard, not the actual
Penis
appendage.
metaphor. But obviously, the children that we are, we use it as a penis metaphor.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
So,
It is good though.
didn't he? So when they used to find something on camera on Most Haunted, it was like a little speck, like a little white dot, and they used to go, "That's an entity." Yeah.
An orb.
So is that what's
Yeah.
that classed as?
It's still it's a manifestation of energy, isn't it? So the video that we were talking about earlier with me doing my vlog, you can see these orbs. So it's just energy that's in the air, but they classify these as spiritual energies. They could be something as simple as a reflection of a dust particle or a bug, which has been seen in many different sort of supernatural shows, and a lot of them do tend to try and debug them from the way that they sort of float about, the way that they move, and some have been seen to be like beetles and things that are flying at the time that the recording's taking place, and others are dust particles.
Okay.
And
Okay.
some other ones do some weird stuff, some janky things where they go zigzag and then off inside somebody, and they're the ones that are sort of seen to be sort of spiritual energies that are flying about.
Because I'm not gonna lie, many times I watched Most Haunted and went, "It's a bit of dust, Derek." So I think Derek were having us on half the time. I'm not gonna lie. He were in it for paycheck. Oh, Derek.
It's a bit of dust, Derek.
Bit of dust, Derek. I was on mute while I was laughing because I didn't want it to come through.
Yeah. Right, what's what?
Number two.
Number two. Go on.
Mary Loves Dick.
It's a bit of dust,
It's
Derek.
just a bit of dust, Derek. Oh, it's turned into a sham.
Bless you.
Don't edit this.
I'm not.
Oh, God.
It's not even going into gag reel either. This is going to be the content. This is what you can to expect from PTR podcasts.
Oh, God.
Mary Loves Dick.
Mary loves the thing is, I want to start my gaming one next week. So if this is what's happened on a spooky one, I don't know where that's gonna go. Oh God,
Right. Mary Loves Dick.
Ooh, right. So Kyle's got 8 things to talk about, and we're on number two.
Number two. Basically, poltergeists tend to prefer women to men, which in a lot of cases does seem to be the case.
In a lot of cases, this is proven to be true.
Yes.
I would say from what I've seen in the media and stuff like that, it always does tend to be a woman over a man. I mean, even films portray it as women all the time as well, don't they? Or children.
Yeah. I've never known a story or any like film where they've been sort of possessing men.
No,
Amityville Horror.
No.
I don't think I've
Poltergeists.
seen that.
Well, right, Poltergeist, yeah. No, to be fair, you say movies, yes, 100%. There's quite a few YouTube videos out there where there's, I think it's this Canadian bloke where, like, literally his cupboard doors behind him start opening and shutting and slamming and stuff. So maybe poltergeists aren't sexist.
Maybe.
They are
Or
supposed to be more aggressive spirits, though, and males typically back in the day were more aggressive towards women because women were like a lower status, weren't they? So I've got a bit
But
of a
we don't
theory
believe that here.
that's...
Just a disclaimer: we do
No,
not
no, no,
believe
of
that
course
here
not.
on this. I mean, we
no,
are in a podcast full of men, but
because we
that's
don't know any women.
yeah.
Hence
Carl
why
had
we're
a
doing
date
this.
last night. What are you on about?
Let's not talk about that.
Yeah, but obviously men were more aggressive towards women way back when. You know, you see it on a lot of sort of 1940, 50 films, sort of like that. When women were a lower class than males. Maybe that's something to do with it. Maybe.
Maybe.
That's actually a good shout.
That's
But
just
is
a
that
theory.
is that saying that there's no poltergeists born after 1950s? Well, I say born like they come out of the womb or something, like because I feel like you always differentiate poltergeists and ghosts to like the 1950s, like olden days. Why do we not get spirits that are like 3 years old?
Well, if you think, like, I get where you're coming from, but if you think about it, sort of on a timeline, it's only been recent times where women have been classed as equal, whereas for centuries before they weren't.
Yeah,
So,
No,
exactly.
yeah,
as
I
much-
get that part. I get that part. What I'm saying is the ghost in general. Do we not get like have ghosts stopped becoming a thing now? Like, has it been cured or something? Like, you can't turn into a ghost anymore because you always say ghost and you always hear a story and it's always from the 1960s, the 1950s, but it's
Victorian
never.
times and shit.
Yeah, it's never Steve that died in 2002 while he was eating a kebab.
but we're a lot more civilized now, aren't we? There's a lot less
Well, yeah, I suppose. So
regret and stuff, and
yeah,
there's a
so
lot
you're a
more
lot less
opportunity.
angry. Yeah, so I get, yeah, kind of makes sense. So maybe we have cured being a
Why is
ghost.
there no ghost dinosaurs?
This
I
is
mean,
the theory that I'm going with, why I don't really believe that. Technically speaking, if you're going to believe in ghosts, you need to believe in some form of religion, because again,
Yeah.
like, animals don't have sort of religious views or anything like that. However, there have been sort of cases or reportings of hearing ghostly animals. So there's nothing to say that there sort of isn't ghostly dinosaurs, or maybe they have sort of like a lifespan.
They could be on a different plane to us as well. In terms of like what I don't know how to explain it. Like
Well,
we
if you
only
think,
relate to a human presence.
yeah, if you think about, so where the world was at that point as well, Pangea, the great supercontinent, is where a lot of sort of like dinosaurs were, and then those land masses split off due to like volcanic activity and tectonic plates and whatnot. The world sort of separated into the countries that we see today. So if they're sort of like time locked into place, there might be certain stuff in Africa that you have like ghostly dinosaurs and stuff, but others might be in the middle of the Pacific or Atlantic or Indian Ocean where there's no landmass.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
you wouldn't
I agree.
actually come across them.
So my fourth, I've skipped to number 4 because number 3 is just discussing, the plausibility of poltergeists and whether they're faked or not. So we've sort of covered that anyway. So number 4 is regarding how poltergeists, as opposed to ghosts, seem to have more ability to move physical objects.
I've always wondered why is that?
Energy.
They're more aggressive, aren't they?
There's a lot more energy and anger.
Okay, so the angrier you are, the more energy you've got.
Well, if you look at it from your point of view, when you got scared, you had a big adrenaline. You had a big adrenaline surge, which was fight or flight. The energy that came from that adrenaline made you run downstairs.
Yeah, no, yeah, makes sense.
So, I mean, it doesn't mean that it doesn't have to be anger. It could be fear. You know, those kids that died in the fire would have had a big adrenaline dump, and they would have been terrified and trying to flee.
Yeah.
And then as soon as they sort of the shutters came down, maybe they think they're getting trapped in a fire.
No, yeah, it's a bit. You keep saying things that makes more sense, and I don't
Sorry.
like it. I've got to go to
Sorry.
work tomorrow.
Yeah, but as soon as you open the shutters, they're fine.
Yeah, but I still have to shut them at the end of the day. I'm going to make Harley shut them. It's all right. Don't worry.
Yeah, there you go.
I'll send the little girl upstairs.
But yeah, that could be them thinking that you're trapping them and they're going to burn again.
Yeah. Oh, God.
So I'm not saying that's true, but that to me makes kind of sense.
Yeah, no, it makes sense.
Five,
To be
the
fair.
experts
It
are
does.
still undecided about the Enfield poltergeists, which we've touched on before anyway, haven't you?
Yeah. Yes, I have touched
No
on that
problem.
before. Thank you, Carl, for noticing and watching the podcast.
There's not
Why
actually
are they
much on
undecided on it?
It doesn't actually say much. It doesn't actually say much, mate. It literally says about it, and then it says it was the scene of demonic voices, objects moving without explanation, levitation and strange noises. Events focused on two teenage daughters, Margaret and Janet, which are obviously in The Conjuring. Several reliable witnesses observed. I can't read that word.
They observed them making it up.
Yeah, so the people that lived across the street basically made out that they were lying about the whole thing.
Yeah,
Like,
and if you watch The Conjuring, which we know Carl hasn't, then and in real life they say that the entities made them pretend it was fake.
yeah.
Okay. That's
So,
interesting.
Yeah, I mean, again, well, whether the entity in there was poltergeist or whether it was actually some sort of demonic energy, if they exist, it would determine the sort of level of intelligence that they have. So if they understood what was going on around them and they understood that like they were being investigated and things, they probably
Sorry.
It's all right, I'll edit that out. They would probably know that potentially they could be stopped from doing that thing.
If that poltergeist is moving things around and chucking things around whilst people are in the room and things like that, it's clearly not scared of anything and being revealed to people, if that makes sense. So why wouldn't it be clever enough to do
Maybe
that?
it is scared though. Maybe that's a cause of, the fear that the spirit itself has. Maybe it's acting out because of that.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, you see in films all the time where some creature's chasing someone, or let's look at Shazam as a prime example. When
Sick film.
Shazam doesn't know his own strength and he's running away from the bad guy, and he throws Batman at him and says, "Get him, Batman!" Throwing things, toys at something that's trying to kill you, throwing any object that you can get your hands on, is sort of like some sort of natural.
I suppose
Are you
it's just
using your fridge again, Kyle?
It's a human reflex.
No, I just had a drink. Sorry, the ice cubes have melted and they rattled. My bad.
Carry on, Carl. Sorry.
So I suppose it's I say human, but it's just a reflex of a person to throw something. If you get in, first thing you pick up, you just throw at them. If that makes sense, no matter what it is, in your mind, you're thinking it's going to do something.
Yeah, it's desperation.
Yeah.
I mean, if you flip it on its head, you could argue that we're sort of imposing on the ghosts or the spirits sort of environment as well, so that we could be a threat to them as we see them as a threat.
And the sort of theory that I had in the first podcast, that I still kind of believe or want to believe, is that instead of thinking as time as sort of linear and straightforward, maybe time is looped, and maybe the things that we see are poltergeists or ghosts are actually people that are living in their time, and they're seeing us as the ghost. Dead silence.
Yeah, I will muted. Sorry. Yeah, that makes even more sense. So they don't even really realize that we're there. It's just the other people in their timeline.
So they view us as the ghosts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's
or
like
aliens or whatever.
Whatever.
There's a theory that we live on like different planes of existence as well. I don't know if you know much about that. Yeah. So they overlap, and where they overlap is obviously when you see what we see as a spirit or a ghost or something like that, which is quite interesting to think.
Well, there's forever sort of like references to portals in these haunted places. Portals that are open that allow sort of evil entities in. Maybe it could just be the bridge between different sort of planes of existence where they overlap, and that could be what it is, like
the upside down.
Yeah, exactly. But we don't actually cross into another plane of existence. We're just able to be viewed from that spot. So you can look into a different plane.
Number 6.
Number 6.
So
Number 6.
This is a good one because obviously this ties into what we were talking about earlier and Carl's experience as well. So it's basically most people believe that emotional stress can cause activity.
So again, energy and sort of like spiritual weakness.
Yeah, so basically if you're stressed, or like you said earlier, you weren't in a good place in your life as you were, that can cause you to maybe your mind playing tricks on you or something like that. And you're definitely more susceptible to seeing things.
Yeah.
Well, if we've had that conversation, and I don't even know the word that you called these people. What they called again? Cycle, ghost, cycle, paranormal.
Psychics, parapsychologists.
That's it, parapsychologists. If we had this conversation without reading that, and they think that, it must be right. Because we're clever.
Yeah, sure. Yeah,
that's
I'm not going to deny that I'm not clever, but I'll not deny that you're not either.
I am not clever.
Or maybe you're not clever.
No, definitely thick.
Okay.
Well, I think a lot of it sometimes is, like I was saying earlier on, like, if you're a firm believer, then I think anything is going to, no matter what it is, that's going to make a sound, or, if the wind blows something off through the window or something like that, if you're a firm believer, you're going to be like, well, that's a ghost. If that makes sense. But
no, 100%. I've said this before.
If you can think logically at the same time, like I'm not saying I'm the smartest person on the planet, but I try and think logically and try and come up with an explanation as to why that's happened. Like, that sound was clearly just the pipes in the walls, kind of thing. If that makes sense. So I do believe it's all kind of down to the way you think about things as well. So yeah.
But you've sorry, carry on.
I would say, I suppose it's a bit like religion. People believe that things happen, or God's done it. God did this. Do you know what I mean? It's a similar sort of concept.
Carl's kind of gone along with something that I brought up in a previous podcast that me and Jordan Ryan discussed, which was, as soon as you start to sort of like fall into the belief system, regardless of what it is, and things start sort of like falling into place, all of a sudden everything falls into that sort of specific thing. So, like, I've said to Carl that maybe when you put the shutters down, the girls think they're being trapped again.
That made sense to me
That made sense to you, but
because I started believing as well.
Yeah, if you hadn't have experienced it, you'd have said, "Well, how can you say that? How can you prove
Yeah.
that?" Or maybe
No,
not.
yeah.
But like, I'm someone that's not experienced it. I'm not saying I don't believe you, but I've got no sort of reason to believe that happened, other than your word.
Yeah, no, I
Yeah.
totally agree. That's the thing that I said to the other two people that experienced it. As soon as they ran down the stairs, I was very skeptical. I was like, "Shut up, nothing happened." Do you know what I mean? You're making it up. Until
Yeah.
I experienced it myself, and then now I'm like, right, okay. So it's all hearsay at the same time. You know, one person
Yeah,
can say
and
one thing,
and with our sort of psychological ability to want to fit in, they could say something sort of like that's different from your experience, but you'll say, "Oh yeah, that happened to me," and you'll believe it.
yeah.
You
No,
know,
yeah, and it might not have even happened yourself. You
no,
want it to happen.
but subconsciously, you believe it now,
Yeah,
and that's your truth, even though
yeah,
it's
no,
not your
yeah,
truth, and that happens. That's why witnesses on juries aren't fully sort of like relied upon.
mm,
Not on juries, sorry, witnesses in court, and aren't fully relied upon, because if they talk about what they've experienced with the group that's also seen it, someone could say, "Oh yeah, he was wearing a blue cap and red chinos," whereas somebody else has seen like a green cap with grey chinos. But if the general consensus of that group has said red, I can't remember what I said, but red chinos and a blue cap, then they'll all sort of like agree that that's what they saw, and
yeah,
they'll instinctively, that'll be their truth now. Even though
mm-hmm.
one thought that she saw something, or he thought he saw something different, if the group's saying it's definitely this, they'll believe it, and their
Yeah,
truth is now fabricated and compromised because the group's talked about it and they want to fit in subconsciously.
yeah, and I suppose that, like Kyle said, with the theory is that that can also be adjusted to paranormal entities and noises and anything like that. I feel like you just fall in. It's kind of like falling in love with something. You get attached to it that much, you want it to be true as well, so you start believing it yourself.
Yeah, you fall into the trap.
Yeah,
But
it can be said for anything, can't it? So you can't really. I don't know. Where do you draw the line? Like when you see these shows on YouTube and these videos and things of of spirits, again, is it edited? Is it not? Do you know what I mean? You still don't know where to draw the line. So
some people lie to the point of believing their own lies as well.
oh yeah,
that's the thing that I'm like trying to get at. And that's the point that I'm trying to make.
Yeah.
Is that you're lying to yourself, but subconsciously, there's other things at play that make you believe what you know isn't true, and then all of a sudden you've disregarded the thing that you've seen with your own eyes and believe in something else, what somebody else has told you is true. And you know, it seems to be very easy to change somebody's viewpoint on something if you know how to do it and you have the right tools to do it. And
all it took for me was one bang on that shutter, and I was like, right, 100%. I've experienced something there. That's real. Do you know what I mean?
yeah. And I could go in, let's say we do the stakeout, and I go in and I experience that, and I look at it and I think, well, hang on a minute, and I just try and redo the whole shutter thing. So I open it back up and drop it back down, and it does the same thing. That could literally be like a loose bolt.
Yeah.
And as soon as it hits the floor, it ripples.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying that that's right.
It's not,
I
yeah,
imagine...
but I'm not willing to try it either.
Yeah, so... But I would. I'd be willing to do it. I'd be scared doing it, but I'd still do it just to prove to myself that, like, I'd need concrete evidence.
It's like not a loose bolt.
Yeah, that it's not. Well, not exactly a loose bolt. That I'd need
but
concrete evidence.
The obvious solution can be taken away. Like, it's not this, it's not that, right? Then it narrows it down to, well, I mean, there's only one more explanation for it. If you took every other possibility away, what's left? Paranormal.
But in saying that, just because you can't prove it's something or disprove it's something doesn't
it
mean that
still
it
mean that
automatically means that it is what you're dreading.
Yeah.
It's the same with religion as well. Just because you can't sort of prove anything, like 300 years ago, they couldn't prove certain things and they put it down to God, and then nowadays we know that it's scientifically
Science.
proven. So guys, thank you for listening to the latest in the SleepyTalk podcast. I'd like to thank Carl and Kyle for joining this one and filling in the gaps that Jordan and Ryan have left. I think it's been a fun one, definitely. It's been a different experience for me on this one, and I've really enjoyed how it's sort of come together. I'm not going to enjoy the editing part, though. Not at all.
I mean, I was a good boy.
He was. To be fair, Carl is a prolific swearer, and he smashed it. Whereas Kyle, he hasn't sworn, but there's been a lot of sniffles and coughs and drinking and all that editing. But I still appreciate him being here.
We love him, really.
Yeah,
it's all the
surprisingly.
editing that he has to do. He's just making you do some now. That's all it is. He's just trying to
You're
get back
kidding
at
me?
you.
I edit all the intros that I send across. All of them.
Kyle.
Don't tell him that.
BTEC Kyle was mine.
Oh
I did all
my
that.
God, Kyle.
So,
Oh, well.
right, I'm going to sign off now. I hope you've enjoyed the episode.
Yeah.
I guess Kyle's not saying bye, so
See you later, guys.
Thank you for having me. I'll see
no
you
worries.
later.
Hopefully you'll come back on again. And,
definitely.
or maybe the next one that you're in is the actual stakeout for somewhere.
Hopefully. Yeah, I've enjoyed it. So if you want me back, I'll definitely be back.
Comment below if you want Carl back, because we only get about 2 comments anyway. So if you get one, then there we go.
I'll comment.
Right. Love you. Right. Thank you very much for listening and take care.